and welcome to yet another exciting episode of iBuzz. I'm your host, Nosheen Bukhari, bringing you some news, views, and reviews from entertainment industry, followed by a very exciting review on the 2008 drama and romance movie, 7 Pounds. First things first, let me quickly take you to the top stories of the day. Councillors reject Bridgerton film set in Windsor Park. Mischa Barton shares why framing Britney Spears stirred up painful memories about her own early fame. Daniel Radcliffe's wand and glasses from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows are going up for auction. Friends cast gets together to share what they think their characters would be up to today. And Lifetime unveils actors playing Harry and Meghan in upcoming film. And now moving to the top story of the day. After watching Britney Spears' documentary, Mischa Barton reflected on becoming one of the paparazzi's favorite targets in her early years of fame. She expressed that she could relate to everything Britney has went through. To discuss this further, we have entertainment journalist Josh Rom with us. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nashid. Thanks so much.
So yeah, first it was Reese Witherspoon. Now Mischa Barton. Do you think Britney has set the bar for other actresses this way?
Well, I don't think it's so much other actresses. I just think it's sort of any celebrity who became tabloid fodder in the early noughties, I think can relate to Britney's experiences in a way because of the treatment. So, you know, we're yet to hear from people such as Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton. Well, actually, to be fair, we've actually heard from Paris Hilton in her own YouTube's documentary, This Is Paris. But we know for a fact that Lindsay Lohan also became tabloid fodder. And that's the thing with Mischa Barton. She skyrocketed to fame at such a young age. She had her breakout role in the OC at the age of 17, and she landed the cover of Elle and Glamour. And she attended the Oscars and the Golden Globes and was also a Chanel ambassador. So, you know, she had pretty much a peaking career at such a young age. And I think any sort of person in Hollywood at that time who was young became kind of tabloid fodder. They all went to the same parties. They were all at the same clubs. And that's what Mischa was referring to in the way in which she empathized with Britney Spears.
Yeah. Also, she told that she felt very unprotected with the invasion of her personal life. Now, my question is that, do these celebrities have some entities that are committed to protect them? If yes, then what is the reason for not seeking help from them at the first place? Is it the fear of losing their career, or there is something else to the details of this story?
Well, I think from what Mischa says, she says it's very easy to get sucked into having the wrong friends in the industry. And, you know, that is a thing. You've always got people around you, if you're in the entertainment industry, that might want to use you for all the wrong reasons. And whilst you do have your agents and publicists that try to protect the career side, obviously when you're doing all of the stuff with the press and the paparazzi, it's obviously, in theory, it's easy for non-famous people to comment, but actually it's their own lived experience. We can't quite say what it's like. And the thing is, Mischa said that, like, due to the press coverage that she received at some points, you know, she actually lost out on prospective roles for that. So her agents tried to do her best to protect her, but at the same time, you want press for promotion of your brand and of your career and of your name to put yourself out there. But then when it becomes too much, it is very, very easy to spiral, as was the case with Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, who both ended up pretty well, not Britney, but Lindsay ended up actually in jail because of all of her problems, and because she was a bit of a problem teenager and a problem young 20 guarantee a young adolescent as such. So that's the thing. And also actually the same it can be said with Paris Hilton. She also ended up in jail for a little bit. So that's the thing. It's very easy for situations to spiral. And I think Mischa, because she had a breakout role at such a young age and she became so popular so quickly, that's kind of the thing that happened in the noughties. The tabloids were out of control. I know Mischa joined recently, she joined a series called The Hills New Beginnings, which was a spin-off of the MTV show The Hills, which in itself was a spin-off of another reality show, another Orange County reality show called Laguna Beach, The Real Orange County. And on that show, she used the opportunity to confront infamous celeb blogger reporter Paris Hilton about his treatment and what he wrote of her in the noughties. So that's the thing. I think even though they did have people and some entities to protect them, they could only go so far.
Right. And just like we spoke about Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, and even men like Brandon Fraser, who were pulled down by tabloids, of course, in some cases, it's the celebrities themselves playing with their own careers. But when tabloids jump in, do you think that there should be a code of conduct for these magazines to follow out of journalism ethics? And is it even possible to keep a check on these magazines when we see such reports? Yes, please.
Well, this is the thing. I think it's very different because different countries have different laws when it comes to press codes of conduct. I know there is press regulation in the UK, so I know there is a code of conduct within the UK, despite what some celebrities such as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, despite what they say. There is very much a strict code of conduct, even with newspapers and magazines in the UK. So, I mean, that's the thing. Different countries have different laws. The US laws are on kind of press regulation and also press freedom are very, very different in the US. So I think it would depend on the country. The thing is, speculation will happen absolutely anywhere, and unfortunately, if there are sources that do speculate that are close to some celebrities in any way, shape or form, and they do want to make a quick buck, then they are going to go to the magazines, and then the magazines and newspapers and the tabloids are in every right to print it if it is an absolutely fair source and fair speculation. But at the same time, you know, the magazines and newspapers should know about their codes of conduct. And I'm also sure that, you know, times have changed as well. Times are very different now in the 2010s as they were in the noughties. And the press has learned from that. And I think celebrities as well also know how to use the press better to their advantage now that they've also grown up a bit. I mean, we do have to remember, you know, Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, Mischa Barton, what were they all doing in their adolescence? They were all going to parties. They were all going to clubs. They were all getting drunk. You know, I know Mischa Barton was hospitalized twice in 2007 and 2009. She also was arrested on a DUI, that's driving under the influence, I believe in 2007 as well, yes. So this is the thing, like, it's also, the tabloids are in every right to report on this sort of behaviour. And it's not necessarily the press's fault that people do become wild childs. It's just a thing that they're going to these parties and going to these clubs and also are surrounding themselves with the wrong people. It could only go one way, and the celebrities and the tabloids are going to report on that.
What measures do you think can be taken by the industry itself to protect their assets? I mean, a lot of financial efforts and energies are invested in making these stars shine, but one incident and everything goes down the drain. So do you think that there should be some measures that could be taken to protect their celebrities' mental health along with their careers?
Well, I think that in the case of Britney Spears, it's actually a pretty strong legal entanglement that's going on with her conservatorship, and You know, there's very much inner turmoil within the Spears family. Britney is due to speak about her conservatorship in court. I know she wants a financial company called the Bessemer Trust Company to completely take over her conservatorship. She says that she's also afraid of her father, and I know she's got support from other members of her family, as well as from her fans and the hashtag Free Britney movement. So in the case of Britney Spears, it's actually a very, very different sort of case entirely, because there's basically, when she had her mental breakdown, this arrangement was put in place. So therefore, that Britney, in a way, I think there is this movement to kind of undo that arrangement. A conservatorship is one thing that the stars can put themselves under, or at least relatives can put stars under in Los Angeles if they are not of sound mind. It's clear, or at least people think, that Britney is of sound mind at the moment, so that's why they're wanting the conservatorship to end. But in terms of their assets, I think it's again making sure you're surrounded by the right people, taking advice from your agents and your publicists, going to see your family, seeking therapy. There's always something that celebrities can do to look after their mental health. I think that's why there is such a strong emphasis on California therapy, so to speak. And also that's why, for example, Demi Lovato says she's not sober, she's California sober, where she still drinks in moderation and smokes marijuana, but she stays away from the hardcore drugs. And that's the thing. I think it's a case of staying away from hardcore drugs, limiting your partying, seeking therapy, making sure you're surrounding yourself by the right people, having regular contact with your agent and publicist, and that's the way to go.
Exactly. And Josh, Warner Brothers and Fox have declined to release a statement against these allegations by Mischa. Should that ring a bell, or they should not, care about anything and, just ignore it? I mean, do you expect them to come up with a statement, or they will, keep it declining?
That's a very difficult question to answer, because if these are age-long allegations, it's basically Mischa's word against Fox. I mean, and Warner Brothers. I think if Mischa were to take them to court, then they would be forced to release a statement. However, if it's just kind of low-level allegations, no actions being taken, Warner Brothers and Universal have much bigger things to worry about, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is, how are they going to make money, and how are they going to release their slate of films at the moment into cinemas worldwide and actually turn a profit and deal with all the markets, all the stuff that's going on in the film market right now. So low-level allegations from Mischa, in which he's not going to take legal action against, I doubt they'll release a proper statement or address these allegations in full, because really, is there any need to? I'm not so sure.
Josh, thank you very much indeed for your time and discussion.
Thank you, Machine.
That was Josh Rom with his thoughts on Mischa Barton's statement. And now moving to other story details. Counselors have refused permission to build a film set in Windsor for hit Netflix series Bridgerton. Producers for the period drama had wanted to build a set on Crown Estate land in Sunninghill Park to use over a 5-year period. Bridgerton is Netflix's highest streamed show. Despite royal approval, the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead Council rejected it as inappropriate development of the Green Belt. The set would have been seen scaffolding with frontages used to create a London Regency Square and would have been used for filming over 5 summers. Harry Potter fans will soon have the chance to score some major memorabilia. The original wand and glasses worn by Daniel Radcliffe in the 2 Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows films will be auctioned by Prop Store Ultimate Collectibles next month. The store will be holding a live auction of film and TV memorabilia in Los Angeles from June 29th to July 1st. The auction features more than 1,300 original props, costumes, and entertainment memorabilia, according to the store's website. The Friends reunion made the cast imagine who their characters would be today. Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer reunited on Stage 24 at Warner Brothers Studio, where they were thrown back in time with recreated sets from the show. The group who landed the cover of People this week tell the publication what they think their characters would each be doing now. The lives of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will get dramatized on silver screen once again in a new film, photos of which have now been released. The cast of Lifetime Network's third film encircled the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, titled Harry and Meghan Escaping the Palace, was unveiled. Harry's character will be portrayed by the Punisher actor Jordan Dean, while Sidney Morton will be playing Meghan. A press release stated that the film explores what really happened inside the palace that drove Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to leave everything behind in order to make a future for themselves and their son, Archie. The movie will detail Meghan's growing isolation and sadness, their disappointment that the firm was not defending them against the press's attack. And that's it from the newsroom. We will be right back after a quick short break. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned. Welcome back. In this segment, we will be reviewing the 2008 drama and romance 7 Pounds. Ben Thomas, an IRS agent, is guilt-ridden for his mistake that killed 7 people, including his fiancée. He embarks on an extraordinary journey in order to change the lives of 7 strangers. To review this further, we have a radio presenter with us, Dan Draper. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Dan, beautifully acted, directed, and paced movie with all the surprises in the end. What were your thoughts when you watched this movie?
You know, Will Smith is such a diverse actor as well. He can do comedy, he can do drama, he can do action. And for me, this was a standout role for me because he looked physically different to some of the other roles that he'd been in as well.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible portrayal of what we're going to allude to later on in the interview, which will be talking about, you know, things like mental health, guilt, depression. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a story of devastation, human emotions, and sense of responsibility. It's not just any story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the plot of and the story of the film, as you quite rightfully said, you know, he affected 7 people's lives, 7 families from there, and you'll get to know throughout the film on how that kind of was. It was a slow burner at the beginning, and for me watching it, I kind of had to piece it all together because it was in so many different places, which was the genre of or the theme of the mid-2000s films, where you were kind of just kept on tender hooks all the time and referring to different sections. And it was, for me, it was really lovely to see how the story developed from the beginning piece where he was at the beach house. And one of the quotes that I actually loved, which was the first line in the film, was that he said that God created the world in 7 days, but he shattered his in 7 seconds. And for me, that's such a powerful quote because it shows how quickly life can be turned upside down. And as you go through the film, you can see how that story unfolds and how those families in particular are affected. And the great sense of film that I got was actually atonement. He wanted to atone for his actions that were later on in the film recognized, which was the car crash with his fiancée in the car as well, and how it affected the bus that was hit. And it was the sense of doing things right before he led up ultimately to then taking his own life.
Right. But Dan, there are some mixed reviews involved. Comments like, watching him move around for 2 hours is neither believable nor inspiring. Some also found it pretty boring. I mean, on Rotten Tomato, its rating is 26%. What is your take on that?
I think for me, it was a great film to watch. It was a great acting style to see. I can see where people would say that because there were certain parts where you felt like there should have been a bit more in certain areas, and then maybe a bit less in others. I mean, the scene where he's fixing the printing machine for her was a really lovely romantic scene, but was it necessary to the storyline? Because the storyline for me was, as I said, it was around atonement, and you could tell that with Emily, who's played by Rosario Dawson, fantastic cast for that as well, that he in the end started to fall in love with her after he had gone through and essentially stalked her using the IRS data. Which again, for me was a really powerful scene, but did it really need to be in the final cut? I'm not 100% sure. You could have elaborated a bit more on Woody Harrelson's character, Ezra, and how he was affected, because we see that in the opening scene as well. So, yeah, there were certain things that you think that the pace could have picked up slightly, but it was kind of, for me, it was a great film to kind of sit and watch and again review for this, but it kind of was just on a straight plane. There was no real peaks and troughs with it.
So Dan, Pursuit of Happiness was released just 2 years before 7 Pounds, and that was also a story of a man's struggle for his family. Do you find a bit of resemblance in both the movies and their, concept?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said there, the common denominator is that there's a guy who's struggling with his family, his sense of identity, and how he's kind of able to go through life and how to make right what his wrongs were previously. And I think that's apparent in both films. So there's a definite comparison between the two. And again, within 7 Pounds, it's, for me, how he's able to then go through life, or the later stages of his life, and how he's able to make right his wrongs from what had previously happened within that crash, and how he was able to. And the thing with that as well is that there's 7 people that unfortunately they were killed within this crash. But he then makes up with that, and it kind of goes into a really granular level of detail about having 7 people's lives that he saves as well. So that's his atonement piece. So for me, it was a great comparison between the two, because both films are fantastic, both played in similar ways, but you can tell that there's a huge difference in Will Smith's acting style with those as well. So yeah, I think both films are really fantastic.
Rosario Dawson, Barry Pepper, amazing actors. They also make it such a treat for the viewers. I mean, especially when we talk about Ezra's role, Woody Harrelson. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was a great casting. I mean, I'm a big fan of Woody Harrelson. So his acting ability, again, is so diverse that you can see him in so many different things. And you'll still get the sense that it's Woody, but it's Woody in a different light. So for me, I absolutely love this role, because the first scene that we see him in, he's in a call center and he's working for a meat factory or a meat delivery company. But he's a vegan, so for me there was a sense of comedy within that. He's working for this company because he's got to pay rent, he's got to be able to get through, but he doesn't like really what he's doing or what he's selling. But he has to put that customer service face on and just say, "No, sir, this is what we're going." When Will Smith is really going at him, as Ben's character, he was really going at him in there. And the fact that he portrayed a blind character as well, I think that for me it was a fantastic eye-opening, excuse the pun, situation, because for me it was able to really just see how his acting depth was, because as I said, you can have kind of a shallow actor that will be typecast into the same roles, but that's not where Woody feels comfortable. That's not where he wants to be. He wants to stretch his acting abilities. He wants to go into depths that he hasn't been before. So it was a real test of an actor's capability. And by the end of the film, and when Will Smith takes his own life, and the whole reason that he's done that is to essentially give his organs to people that are in need, like Rosario Dawson for the heart issue that she had. And at the end of the film, you see that Ezra's character's actually got Will Smith's eyes. So there's a kind of sense of freedom, if you like, from Will's character, from Ben's character, on how he was able to uplift these lives. But then also I remember at the time reading a few articles on how it was contradictory and possibly condescending to people within the disabled network, because it felt like that throughout the film, and this is again my take on it, but it felt like throughout the film that, because Ezra's character had an impairment, that he was kind of less than other people. And you saw it in the cafe scene when he was trying to get the waitress and try and get their number, and Will Smith was there, and he said go for it, and he didn't, from a confidence point of view. And a really powerful line that he said there is that she doesn't see me, which again is looking beneath the skin and seeing what is with other underneath, and how his personality is. But then coming towards the end of the film, and when you know, he's got Ben's eyes after the operation had gone through, and he's got this huge gala going on, he's got the kids singing about better days, then for me it kind of it was a nice end to the film, but it made me feel as if that for people with disabilities it could have upset them because it feels like that you need to be physically perfect, in inverted commas, to have a good life, which isn't the case.
Right, right. Dan, it was wonderful having you for this discussion. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Dan Draper reviewing 2008 drama movie 7 Pounds. And that is it from today's show. We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share your feedback and let us know what do you think. We will be right back next time. Until then, take care and goodbye.